Hello. Fill your beer glass at our Kameraden at Mexico City's very favorite cafe, and the Heinrich Heine Club will commence shortly in that corner. No fears. We'll begin 1943 with our usual toast. To the anti-fascists of Germany. And to all anti-fascists, living and dead.
Anna Seghers. The people at your apartment told me I would find you
You
here.
have my apartment here in Mexico?
Yes, I'm visiting from Los Angeles, and I recognize those words from the dedication to your book, The Seventh Cross. Brilliant book.
And you are?
Helen Deutsch.
Fraulein. Miss Deutsch.
Call me Helen, if you don't mind.
Helen? Well, I don't know who you are, but I am very pleased to know that you've read my book. Excuse me?
I read it in English and in German. And the Book of the Month Club they're handing out to the troops so they can better understand Germany. And that's when I realized I had to come here and speak with you, Miss Seghers. May I call you Anna?
Fine.
Anna, this is a matter of great urgency.
Is someone in trouble? Brecht? Or another exile in the States? Or are you talking about someone in the resistance in Germany?
No, it's nothing like that. It's about MGM.
The movie company?
Yes. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. But they mustn't know that I'm here. This is a private visit on behalf of two of us who've been asked to work on the film.
The film?
Of your book, The Seventh Cross. Didn't your publisher tell you?
No. I hadn't heard.
Anna, MGM contacted me to write the screenplay of your book. This is the telegram they sent. A thriller. 7 men, all political prisoners, escaped from a concentration camp called Westhoffen in Germany. It's 1936. The head of the camp vows to recapture them, but one, George, eludes the dragnet.
I know the story.
Of course, obviously. But as you can see, this is from MGM.
Then tell MGM to contact me. It would be, what shall I say? A great relief to get a check. I haven't had one been in payment, although they tell me the book is a bestseller. And the publisher says they are keeping the royalties to pay the translator. And since Mexico was our last refuge after we were turned away from Ellis Island because apparently there are too many Germans and too many Jews and too many radical right.
Anna, MGM has contacted one of the biggest stars of the day, Mr. Spencer Tracy, to play George, the seventh man. Mr. Tracy is the biggest...
Yes, I know who he is.
But before he will sign, he has some questions. And I have some questions. And time is of the essence. I have to turn around and head right away back.
Right, let's get to the point. I approve of Spencer Tracy.
No, that's not the question. You see, in order to write the screenplay, I felt I had to meet you. You've won so many prestigious awards, and they say you are as well known as Brecht.
Well, then you've accomplished your goal. We have indeed met.
That's not all. I've marked some passages. Things that strike me. The morning light hit the boatman's bandana, a bird in flight, the white wall of the riverbank, a church spire far off in the hills, as if these few things were worth remembering forever.
Yes.
You create such vivid pictures.
We carry landscapes within us from our earliest days. I merely draw upon the images embedded in my memory.
I see. And then there is this description of the concentration camp. Between the commandant's barracks, a sturdy brick building, and barracks number 3, along which grew a line of trees, there was a sort of square they called the dancing ground. It's here that the siren really bores into your head.
You read very well.
I believe this describes a torture site. And here is where I must ask. We need to know, Mr. Spencer Tracy and I, is the story true?
It's a novel. No doubt you and Mr. Tracy are familiar with the form.
If MGM decides to make this into a movie, it will be the first time a feature film shows a concentration camp. Americans are still getting used to sending their troops off. This will certainly stir the pot. So, is Westhoffen a real place?
The name is fiction.
But it exists otherwise.
Surely you and Mr. Tracy are not so naive as to think differently. So do your research, Helen.
We hear rumors. See the Associated Press dispatches tucked into the back pages. But this will give a you are there feeling, and it's a brutal scenario.
Concentration camps are as real as swastikas, the Gestapo, and Hitler Youth. Fascism is real, and I did not have to dream up these things.
And is there, George? The sense of danger that surrounds him is so palpable. Is there a prisoner who's indeed escaped?
There may have been one.
And did you know him? Can I tell Mr. Tracy that there is a basis in reality?
Look around you, Helen. We are Germans, and we are anti-fascists, and we are Jews. And yet, here we all are as exiles in Mexico. So do you not think that we have all escaped in some fashion? I can tell you my father did not escape. He died in 1940, 2 days after he was forced to relinquish his antiquities business because he was a Jew. And I can tell you my mother did not escape. She was deported to an unknown fate in a Polish ghetto.
That's devastating news.
No, it is what we have all experienced. So, make the movie, Helen. Tell Mr. Spencer Tracy to make the movie and tell MGM to contact me here in Mexico. Now, if you will please let me get back to my waiting poets.
I've come 1,500 miles, and you're talking to me as if we're a mirage standing in front of you. If I don't understand what this book means to you, how can I make it meaningful to anyone else, Anna? Or Nettie, right? That was your name growing up. Nettie Reiling. Anna Seghers is a writing pseudonym, I believe.
That you've done some research, and that is about the most promising thing I have.
But my research can't tell me what is true in your book.
Right, this is the one undeniable truth. January of 1933, when Hitler came into power, was the most devastating of all.
To write it.
Look, use your imagination, Helen.
Yes, imagination is essential, and I'm not in short supply of it. But the story will rise and fall based on integrity. I can't speak for Mr. Spencer Tracy. It will be for him to decide his reputation.
Reputation? Do you think the SS considered my reputation when they shoved me into a jail after the fire at the Reichstag in 1933? Do you think the reputation of the writers was of a concern when they fired the Jewish editors, shuttered the newspapers, and banned the foreign radio?
Ah, one fact. The man who is turned in by his neighbor for listening to foreign radio.
The why is on every leaf of the book, Helen. I've said more than enough. I don't have to explain my book, and I have certainly not asked you to explain your films.
I'd have very little to say. I've never made a film before. I've written hundreds of articles, a dozen short stories, nothing for the big screen.
I don't think I can help you in any other way.
You hold the key. You bring vast panoramas, precise details. What I can do is step inside the story and lift the moments that describe its essential elements. But without knowing the whys and wherefores, I'm afraid I'm lost.
Afraid? This is what the fascists count on. Fear is their most prized weapon. A little drop of fear can evaporate courage, vaporize morals, make the most stalwart silent. So tell me, is this why you came all the way from Los Angeles? To become silent?
There are many writers in Hollywood. Someone else will take it up.
Ah, so now you are going to give up. I wonder what would have happened to my character George if he had given up at the slightest disruption to his plan. And how many of these other writers will come here? There are always matters to weigh and to consider. Let me tell you how fascism works. You erase out, you end nuance, you remove art and literature and textbooks that might expand people's thinking, and you give them simple concepts and handy slogans. Oh, do you know what the Prime Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, said on May 10th in 1933 at the Berlin Opernplatz? Some students in swastika armbands carried books to a pile, while men in brown shirts doused it, several feet high with gasoline, while drums and horns played in the background. Goebbels announced, "The age of hair-splitting Jewish intellectualism is dead. We want to re-educate you, so entrust to the flames the intellectual garbage of the past." And then, with great ceremony, someone lit a match. You know, they tell people that labor unions are bad, and Jews are the enemy, and sacrificing their sons and daughters to the Reich is good. But my point is, Helen, once they lit that match, they could not contain all the embers. They inflamed the most ordinary of people.
And those are the people in your book. Like the factory worker who comes to the aid of George, though it might imperil his life. Or the costume designer who provides clothes.
There. See, you comprehend very well.
And tell me, were you there? On the Berlin Opernplatz? On May 10th, did you see the fire?
After a fashion, I felt the flames.
So you saw it?
No, I see it. Late at night, before I fall asleep, I see this vast expanse of Berlin, and the bustle, and the buildings, and the blackness of the sky. And I see the boys with their Hitler Youth badges. And they're maybe like the sons of my neighbors. And they are hauling out books as if they are dragging stained wallpaper from a rain-drenched room. And then I see this one boy, and he has a shock of brown hair over one eye and his tiny scar on his lower lip. And he glances down at the book that he is carrying. And he reads the title. It's The Revolt of the Fishermen by Anna Seghers. And it occurs to him he would like to open it. Instead, he throws it onto the pile. And suddenly my face is red hot. And the next morning, I am still burning when I find my desk. So that match gave me the book that you will turn into a film.
An act of resistance. The book is your refusal to be silenced. I can feel the flames. But it would be a tremendous task to do it justice in a film.
But you're a storyteller, Helen. Hundreds of articles, a dozen short stories, and if we are silent, only the dead will speak for us.
It's a difficult puzzle. And film is a new form for me.
Then make it good. And, well, tell this to Mr. Tracy. We named our club after Heinrich Heine for a reason. 120 years ago, he had a prophecy. He said, wherever they will burn books, they will, in the end, burn human beings. Mr. Tracy will be saving lives, so get this movie on the big screen.
Yes. I can do my best. I can try. Perhaps I can raise a glass with you before I go.
Yes. Join us for a toast.